Welcome to the Health Buzz podcast with Dr. Cindy Ross. Here we explore practical, integrative wellness solutions for the mind, body, and soul, drawing from natural medicine to inspire vibrant health. For more insights, visit lifewellnessforever.com. Please note, this discussion is for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or treat any condition, and should not replace consultation with your physician.
Hey guys, it's Cindy Ross with the Health Buzz podcast, and I have the most amazing, beautiful friend forever co-host with me. She's guest co-hosting again, Amanda Sellers. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
And I am so excited about this guest today, and we have talked about it for a while, and it's Sonya Moore, and she wrote Some Kind of Magic, and it was definitely by far my favorite book of 2024. And I know all of the Orange Beach population where I live, they are so excited for this interview because they are the ones that recommended you to me. So thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, I'm so excited to be here. And thank you to all those people for the recommendations and for your recommendations.
Yes,
So honored.
your book has been floating around the beach for a while.
I love that.
I think that you're the reason for a lot of new itineraries, actually.
Oh, good.
You're the reason for a lot of new itineraries. Okay, so Amanda's in Tampa area, Clearwater, Amanda?
Yeah.
Largo.
It's technically Largo, but
Largo.
Clearwater is the closest big city.
So she's Eastern, I'm Central, and Sonya, where are you in the world?
I'm in Papua New Guinea
In
at
your
the moment.
last days there, right?
Yes, we're counting down. Let's see, I guess 6 more days here. Although we're going to Japan in the middle, so we have like 3 days till Japan and then 3 days when we get back.
Yeah. And then you're headed back to France?
Yeah, we're going to France and then we're going to the US and then we're going to Colombia and then we're going to India and then we're just gonna
Hop
become
around.
nomads for a while
I
again. Yeah.
love I love it.
What part of Colombia?
Medellin.
It's beautiful there. It's one of my favorite
Yeah.
cities.
Eternal spring.
Have you've been,
Yeah.
Sonya?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have, but my partner hasn't. So that's the reason we're going. He's like, well, if we're gonna be in Miami, we're so close. So
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, like it's like a little hop over. I loved it. We did all of it. We did Bogota, and we also did Cartagena as well. But yeah, Medellin was my favorite.
it was your favorite.
Yeah,
I
the food
yeah.
is just spectacular. It's fresh and it's healthy. It's so good.
I know, and especially the tropical fruits.
It
Did
is
you find so many that
so
you had
many.
never seen
Yeah,
before?
so
Yeah.
many, so many. I just looked at my face. So for anybody that knows, I had the PRF plasma rich ferritin done. It's like platelet rich plasma done in my face yesterday. So they draw blood
Ooh.
and it's your own blood, and then they spin it down so it separates the platelets from the red blood cells, and then they rub the platelet serum all over your face, and they do microneedling, so it's your own blood going back in, and it's helps to produce collagen and all the oxidative stress and everything. But my face is like super red, so sorry, you just have to deal with me today.
No, it looks amazing. It's glowing.
It's
Yeah,
really
I was
tight.
gonna say the same thing.
It's
You're
really tight.
glowing.
It's really tight. I'm pregnant. I'm just kidding. Not pregnant. Not pregnant. Joke. That was a joke. Okay, so you wrote Some Kind of Magic and it was published. You just hit a year because I saw your post. And I literally, okay, so I got to tell our followers. So I literally stalked you, and that's how we became friends. And I
I'm
like reach
so glad.
out. I do. I like, so I had a book club forever, and I would reach out to authors and I'd be like, hey, come talk on the book club to all of our viewers. But when I went on sabbatical this year, I kind of did away with all that. And then I found your book, and it was so much in line with everything that I was doing and everything that Amanda and I've talked about through the year, and burnout and just changing directions. And I fell in love with you. I fell in love with your book, and I had to stalk you. And now I'm really glad we're friends.
I'm so glad you stalked me. I really am. I wish more people would stalk me. Only the awesome people like yourself.
Yeah, be
So,
careful what you ask for.
right. So, Sonia, tell us, what was the reason behind Some Kind of Magic? I mean, like, people that have not read your book, what inspired you to write it?
So for anyone who doesn't know anything about the book, it is a true story. So it's the subtitle is True Story of Love, Life, and Wanderlust. And the reason I wrote it is because I felt the story wanted to be told, if that makes sense. That's really what it felt like. And I realized that I also wanted to tell the story. And I wanted to tell it because I wanted to share the magic. I wanted to let everyone see and feel what life showed me because it was very life-changing to me and really changed the way that I see life itself and the way I see existence and the way I understand life to work. So, yeah, I
Love that.
really felt
I
I
love that.
needed to put that out there. So I'm glad
So
I did.
you were, without giving away any spoilers, you pretty much just decided to quit work, right? And you went on a sabbatical, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah, in the very beginning of the book, I just had this epiphany and realized I do not want to continue in this job or this career anymore. And I thought about what I would feel like when I looked back when I was 80 years old and what would I want my present day self to have done. And yeah, what I wanted to do was just go travel and travel slowly because I had already had a career of international travel, which is awesome. And I'm very grateful for that. But after 14 years of that, I was burned out on it and it wasn't bringing me the same joy that I had before. And I realized the kind of travel that I was doing for work was not really letting me dive deeply into the culture and really discover the culture and really discover what life is like outside of the world that I know, like those business trips are just quick trips. And so, yeah, I decided I wanted to travel slowly and really live in other parts of the world. And so, yeah, I decided to quit my job. And I was fortunate that I had savings that would, give
Yes.
me a
Yeah.
fair amount of time to travel.
And you
And I
live
didn't.
pretty frugal. I mean, like from what I remember in the book, and it's been months. So if I get something wrong, just correct me. But it's been months since I read it. But you live pretty frugal traveling. I mean, you stayed in some like hostels and things like that along the way.
Yeah, actually, so that's a funny story. I actually did not stay in hostels because I'm a little bit of a diva where accommodations are
I
concerned.
think I
Like I've
remember
been
you saying that. Yeah,
other people typically stay in hostels when they're doing this long-term thing, but I'm like, I need my alone space and I need it to be beautiful and inspiring and
I get it.
cozy. So, but it's so inexpensive in the places that I went, which is, India, Cambodia, Myanmar, Laos. So while you can find very expensive hotels over there, you can also find really nice places for $30 a
Right.
night,
Yeah.
40, 25.
Pretty much what you would
So
pay for a hostel anywhere else, right?
yeah, exactly. Like I remember when I was booking my first accommodations, because the first place I went to was India, and I found a place that was $25 a night. And to me, I'm like, that's the cost of lunch. So in my head, it's like free almost, which then changes when you're not working and you're living off your savings. You're like, well, it's
Exactly,
not
right?
actually free, but but yeah, it's so inexpensive. So
So,
yeah.
Amanda, have you been to India yet? You got to go
No, but
to
I
India.
want to. I want to.
Okay, so she has been on me. Like we've been talking about doing a retreat forever, and when I talked about bringing you on, and we can get into this a little bit more and let you talk about it, but we talked about we've signed up for the monastery a couple of times, the monastery that I went to, and we signed up. It didn't work out like our dates, probably more on my end. And so then we talked about Bali and we've been all over. And so then when I was bringing you on, she literally as soon as I give her your information, she screenshots the dates and she's like, it's Mother's Day, it's this. And I'm laughing. I'm like, yeah. And she's like, 3 spots left.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it is in my future. I do want to do your retreat. It looks amazing. So I hope you do another one in Bali because yeah, I can't go to this one because it's on Mother's Day.
And I tried to have it on other dates, and these were the only dates that would work out between the two venues.
That's
Never say
okay.
never. Maybe after a few years I'll do another one in Bali, but because I did two there last year and then it
Yeah.
was very magical, so I felt like I needed to do at least one more. But after that, I'm planning for the next one to be in India.
Yeah,
And then
India is like one of the most, I want to go back. So I just got invited down with the monastery that I got ordained with, and they just went on this like 2 week temple to temple to temple, a lot of meditation. And I was like, wow. And like the only one guy that I got ordained with he was the only American, the rest were all Vietnamese. So I was like, wow, what an amazing experience that must have been, right? To be able to go, I want to go back to India in this stage of my journey, because when I went to India before, I really wasn't like, we went there to kind of like do meditation, but we ended up like being like, you know how busy it is. And it was just like we wanted to see as much as possible. And I don't think that we took the time to slow down. And that's what I loved about your book, because you just dove in to every place that you visited. And it was just, you found all the magic.
I don't know if I found all of it. I
You
found a
found
lot,
all
but
of
I
it.
feel like there's more waiting. I'm really excited to go back and find more. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's an amazing place. It's definitely it's not all good. I mean, you can definitely find some things to complain about in India, but then there is so much good and it's really calling me. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Really.
Amanda, you got to put it on your list. Because, like, it's so funny. When we came back from India, and I employ several Indians that met me there, they'd been working for me for years from a marketing company. And then when I got there, they drove from all over to come see me, like hours and hours and hours
Oh, that's
to come see me.
awesome.
It was fantastic. And so they'd been working for
Oh.
me for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. And then we got to meet in person for the first time. It was so wonderful. But there are bad parts, right, of it, and there are good parts of it. And so you have to know my husband. Amanda kind of knows my husband. And he's very bougie, and he does not like hostels, and he doesn't like any of that stuff. Like he's like the bougie traveler. And so when we came back, people would say, "How was India?" And I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it was the most magical place, and it was so much culture." And I'm like going, and Jason's like, "It was horrible," and it was like we went to two separate countries. I'm like, somebody came up to me and they're like, "Did y'all go to the same country?" And I'm like, "We did." That's why, like,
That's so true.
I think it's so important to never take someone's advice on traveling if they've been to a place, because something that they may not have gotten out of it, you would get out of it, you know?
Yeah, yeah, take everything with a grain of salt.
It
It
is.
is definitely very dusty, and it's also a massive country, so it really depends where you go.
Yeah.
Actually, the first time I went to India was for work, and I went just to big cities primarily, also the Taj Mahal, which was amazing.
Same.
But
Yeah.
I went to Delhi and Mumbai and Bangalore, and I actually hated it, and I thought I was gonna love it, but it was just so overwhelming in the cities with the crowds and the heat and the smells and the poverty. And there's just so much poverty. Um, so that was a little traumatizing. But when I went back, I went to smaller villages and like these remote places in the mountains. And then I'm like, wow, this is India. Okay.
Yeah.
It was so, yeah, that's
It
where the
has so
magic
much to
is.
offer. It does. And I guess too, like really getting to know the people for me, and how kind and loving, and I don't know, I just saw a different side of it. And I want to
The
go back.
sweetness.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I want to go back to the smaller, like I have not done, is it called Kerala? Am I saying that right?
Kerala?
Kerala.
Kerala.
So that
Hmm.
is one area that I heard is fantastic, that I've not been to the south part at all, only the Northern Triangle. So yeah, I want to go.
Ooh. Yeah, and you will love Goa as well.
That's what
The
I've heard.
beaches are so stunning.
Yeah, they're
But
beautiful.
yeah.
I
Oh,
loved your part of the book where you are, I guess it was like you had left one country, and maybe you were renewing your visa, and you had gone back to India, and you all were like in the mountains, and you had come across like some place to meditate, and you had a friend with you. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh, I think you're talking about the Ayurvedic Center. And yeah,
Yes.
because I had gone to the Maldives because the Maldives are only an hour flight away from Kerala. And I'm
Yes.
like, that island nation is sinking. I need to go now.
Yes. Mhm.
I shouldn't laugh. That's actually no laughing matter. But anyway, so yeah, I did very serendipitously run into my friend Joanne when I was looking for an Ayurvedic center to go to, and then she told me about this amazing experience she had at this place. And I am very excited because I loved that place, and we are going back in February for another month, and I
Ah,
can't wait.
nice. Nice.
I can't
I
wait to
know
just
we have our
unplug and
25th anniversary coming up, and Jason's like, "Do you want to do Bali or do you want to go to India?" And I'm like, "I don't care, but can we just meditate and stay like in the temples?" And he was like, "No, no, no, I don't want to do any of that." And I'm like, "Well, that's what I want to do." Like, I want to
I'll
just
go with you.
thank you, Amanda. We could
I'll
celebrate.
go celebrate your 25th anniversary.
I think it's a great idea. Yeah, just I'll send Jason to like all the beach places with the beach bars, and he can go do that, and I'll just go do all the meditation.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good plan.
I don't know. I just thought India was like such a melting pot. But you've been to so many places. Like I asked you, like Cambodia is a big one on yours. Like you love Cambodia.
I do.
You just wrote a blog that you sent me, a travel guide, right?
Yes, I just wrote a travel guide to Cambodia on my blog because I went back after 4 years and I wasn't sure how much it would have changed after COVID. I wasn't sure if I would still feel the same way, but I just fell in love with it all over again. And I'm like, people need to know about this.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
What
Yeah.
is that website?
I know how I will put it
It's
in our show notes, but go ahead and tell people how to get to you right now.
So I have two websites, and sonyamore.com is the main one. And I should definitely link to the other one on there. Haven't done that yet, but we'll get to it. The other one is
I
followthecoconuts.com.
love that
And
name.
thank you.
So easy to remember. And I love Follow the Coconuts.
I
I
love
love
I
it.
would
it
just
too. I
say
really
follow the
love.
coconuts barefoot.
Yeah, that would be good too. I really do love coconuts, and it's been pretty cool because most of the countries that I've been to along this journey have really had a ready supply of fresh coconuts available
I love it.
for
That was
high
our
season.
podcast last week. We were making our own coconut milk.
Yes, I loved that.
And
Tuned in for
Sonya,
that
you
one.
sent us how to make cashew milk, which was great.
Yeah, I messaged you. I was like, oh my God, yesterday I just finally made cashew milk for the first time. And it's incredible. It's so easy and it foams really well.
So,
So,
so in one of the books I was reading, it talks about like, and maybe, I don't know, I haven't really researched it, but my husband, I sent him on a tangent the other day and he's been really diving into it. But cashews, are they stored similar to peanuts, like with the mold and everything?
ooh, maybe I'm not
Maybe, I don't know.
informed
I got to
on
dive into
that.
that. I got to research it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to research it. Amanda, have you heard anything about it?
No, no, I am just now getting very used to my coconut milk. And Kennedy actually made smoothies this morning. But I thought that after I get through these cans that I ordered that I would try the cashew milk. I'll
Yeah.
try anything once.
Yes. Yes. And just for clarification, if you did listen to the podcast last week, Amanda and I were kind of like unsure, like if there was like BPAs, like cans and the lining, everything checked out. So it's all good. So it was Thai Kitchen was the brand that we both have. And the lining is BPA friendly.
Mm.
So no harsh chemicals and it's safe. And the cartons are as well. So, and you don't get the gum in the cartons, the gar gum. So just FYI on that one. Okay, so Sonya, I have to ask you, where do you go in the US when you come visit?
Florida. Florida's my stop. So I lived in Tampa for 12 years. So I think it's very cool that Amanda is also in Tampa area. And then I lived in Miami slash Delray Beach for 6 years total. So, and then my best friend is in Orlando. So I just kind of go all over the state
Bebop.
like a crazy person when I'm back, and I love it. And then by the end, I'm exhausted. And
So you have to come visit when you're in because I'm in Pensacola, Florida, right? Like, so I'm at the very tip,
oh,
but it's going to be funny because I'm going to be like, hey, Jason, Sonya and her partner are going to come stay at the house. And he's going to be like, so you just met this person online, you stalked her, and she's this random person that wrote a book that's on your podcast, and you're inviting them into our house. I'm going to be like, yes, that's right.
yeah, exactly.
His
Oh, well,
Why
uncle's
thank
not?
you so
been
much
his
for
uncle's been
listening.
living with us. It's all public knowledge. So his uncle's so I'm banking this, right? Like it's bankrolling. So I will have like months that I can like use up for my friends to come stay. Be great. But no, seriously, you should come up
That's
because it's
very
really
cool.
beautiful. And we live it's called
Mm.
Orange Beach, Alabama. So my house is on the line of the Florida Alabama line. And
Oh,
Amanda is from this area as well. And
Hmm.
we went to school together since seventh and eighth grade. And so that's how we connected.
oh, that's so cool. Well, that sounds amazing. I will see if we can squeeze it in because we're squeezing a lot in, but that
I'm
sounds
sure.
amazing. And
Yeah,
if
So
not this time, then next visit.
it's beautiful. But yeah, if you definitely get up on the northern panhandle part of it, it's nice and beautiful.
or we just have
Oh,
to plan to go to one of her retreats. That might be easier.
yeah,
Yes,
do that. I know.
yes.
I know.
Well, I may be having a retreat, just a weekend retreat in Sarasota on January 11th. I'll keep you
Oh,
posted
Oh,
on
Sarasota's
that.
beautiful.
I could do
Yeah,
that.
definitely.
I could do that. So I grew up so I left Baker where we went to school together in Mobile.
Go Hornets.
Yes, go Hornets. I left after ninth grade and I moved down to Bradenton and I lived at the
I
tennis
love
academy.
Bradenton.
Nick Bollettieri's tennis academy is where I grew up down there. So right in Sarasota area. So yeah, if you do put on that, you'll have to let me know and I'll publish it and try to get a lot of participants. Because people
Okay.
especially the Orange Beach peeps that love your book so much, we will all follow you. You have like a whole little fan club going on.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I literally had like I guess it was back in I don't know, maybe it was like May, I think, June. It was hot. It was getting hot. And I had like rode my bike over this big bridge and I met a friend for yoga. They were having like just this like random yoga class Saturday morning on the beach. And literally we're finishing up and she's like, you got to read this book, Some Kind of Magic. And it like all the yogis, they had all like read it like around town. So yeah, that's how it all started. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I love it. And I love hearing about that because most of the time you just have no idea who's reading it. Because I've realized most people don't leave reviews, which is fair enough because I also don't leave reviews for most books that I read. Although I'm trying to change that. I love reviews, by the way. If you've read my book and want
I
to
don't
review
leave
it,
reviews, but I love
like,
reviews.
yeah. I do leave some now. I'm like, oh, they might appreciate if I leave a review. Yeah, but that's really awesome to know.
It's so funny when
Can
that
I ask you? Oh, I'm sorry,
no, no,
Cindy.
no, go, Amanda. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the part of your book where you had this moment about your mom, because I immediately just started bawling
Hmm.
after however many years that you came to this understanding about your mom. And I don't know how much you can give away without giving it away and how your relationship is with your mom now. And as a mom,
Yeah.
I'm always very, fearful of how I am handling things. And my daughter's only 8. And how I discipline and how I talk to her. And I don't, it hit me that I don't want her to be in her late 30s or early 40s and come to the realization that everything that I did at that in that moment was from love. I want her to know now. So tell me.
Oh. Oh, yeah. I think your daughter will probably have a very different experience with, with you than I did with mine. But yeah, this part I don't consider a spoiler at all. And that's probably the part in the book that was the most emotional for me to write. I definitely had to rewrite that a few times. But so the background is that I come from a very religious family, and my parents were very, very, very strict with me growing up. And I am a freedom loving soul. So it was very difficult for me to pretty much not be allowed to do anything like not be allowed to go bowling with my friends from school because they're not Christians from the same church that we go to. So they might be bad influences, whatever. Like dating, forget about it. So I was just very bitter for a long time. Even probably throughout most of my 20s, I just felt that I was such a victim and I had suffered so much. I got robbed of having like a regular childhood, and not even just childhood, but regular teenage years. But when my best friend had her first child, which was a little girl named Alyssa, who I consider my niece. When I talk about my nieces, that's who I'm talking about, from her and her sister. But I just really totally fell in love with that little baby girl. And there was one weekend where I was visiting them, and they had gone to church in the morning, and I had just stayed home. So I was alone. I was meditating by the pool. And I was just thinking about how much love I felt for this little girl when I looked at her. And I couldn't imagine feeling any more love if she had been my own child. But I'm not even related to her by blood. And then I thought about my mother and I thought, well, I'm her firstborn child. Is this how she felt when she looked at me when I was a baby? And that was just the catalyst for it. And it made me realize that everything that she had done throughout my life, it was out of love. She was very strict and I suffered, but her intention wasn't to make me suffer. She just wanted to protect me and keep me safe in this life and then keep my soul safe in the afterlife. So yeah, I just started bawling when I realized that. And then it was kind of the beginning of this conversation. And I I feel like it was this melting away of blockage to love. And I believe that love flows along a channel, right? Like, so it needs to come in and go out. And so if you're blocking it from going out, then it can't come in either. And I really do believe that was an essential part of my journey to finding romantic love because yeah, I think I needed to heal
You had to
that
let go
with
of
her.
all that to receive it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And so and it was amazing too because I ended up there's kind of more that happens, but in the book I wrote about when I sat down and wrote her a letter, and then after I wrote well, it was an email, and after I started typing, I realized it was Mother's Day that day. So
That's
yeah.
perfect.
Well, I love the way you talk about the mirror and how you saw her because I feel like the older we get, obviously, if we're going to favor our mom or look like our mom, that's when we're going to start seeing it more. And I know for myself, I look in the mirror and I see my mom sometimes because, I'm getting older and I'm starting to favor her more, I think. Um, but I love how that was kind of the start of it. Like you were looking at somebody else in the mirror. It was really, really beautiful.
Yeah, that was a very interesting experience, the mirror
Mhm.
one.
So
Yeah.
a lot of your I guess like revelation like with your mom, did you think a lot of it came from, I mean, you practice pretty heavy with your meditation and you did Vipassana. Do you think that a lot of it come from your personal practice?
I think so. I think it's all related. Like I feel like my whole journey was just kind of this peeling back of layers one at a time. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Really, I loved that journey of all of your meditation and finding all the spiritual places. And especially like I think when I read your book, I really did not even have Vipassana on my list. And then I came
Oh,
across a
really?
friend. Yeah. And I came across a friend and I remember reading it in your book and she was like, you gotta. I was already like, I would do a, I would do a Vipassana meditation here at the house, but it's not the same. Like you got to go learn it, and you don't understand it until you do that. So maybe Sonya, you can help me talk someone into doing a Vipassana. Someone she's scared.
I don't know if
She
it's
should be scared.
fear. Yeah. Well, I
Oh,
was
is it you? Is she
meditating the
talking
other
about you?
day. Yeah, well, it's me. Yes.
Okay.
But I was meditating the other day and I have so much respect for the two of you for making it through that because I mean, it's physically extreme, it's emotionally extreme,
Mhm.
I probably intellectually extreme, but just sitting there for 15 minutes, my back was hurting and I was thinking about you, Cindy, and I'm like, how in the world did you do this for so long? I don't know. How do you prepare for that? I don't know.
I don't think that
It
you
is,
do.
yeah.
Like I literally reached out to Master Trand down at the monastery because she had done one, and I was like, she put me on like a regimen. Like I felt like I was in training, like a bodybuilding show. Like I was like, but even that being said, even though like I had prepared my body, I was doing a lot of stretching and a lot more yoga and just like working on my hip flexors, and it's still I still don't feel like it was, I mean, the first 3 days was excruciating, but then
Mm.
it got, I don't know if it got better. I don't know if it got better. I don't know. Maybe you just get numb to it, I think is what it is. And then you start, I don't know, for you, Sonya, I don't know how it was for you. Like afterwards, when I came out of the Vipassana, it took me like a couple weeks to recover mentally to get back into my routine. And they tell you like as soon as you go home, you need to be doing 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening. And it took me, and I'm still not back to that. Like, I don't know if I want that to be part of my life. I like 30 minutes of meditation a day. I
Yeah.
feel good, like
Yeah.
I got other things I want to do,
Yeah.
but
Same.
mentally, I mean, like I let go of so much trauma that it took me years and years and years and years of therapy to work through that I didn't realize. So in that sense, it took a lot out of me.
Yeah. So I have a lot to say about Vipassana. Number one, I would say I don't recommend it for everyone. I really believe that if it's something meant for you, you're gonna feel the pull towards it. I think it works like magnets, because it is really difficult, physically difficult. And I didn't expect that before doing it. I thought it would be, mentally difficult to sit there for 10 hours a day, but I was not prepared for the physical pain in my low back, especially. And I had to ask for a back rest. I don't think I would have survived without that back rest.
Yeah, well, my
Um,
hard-headedness, I was like, nope,
you're
I'm
like
gonna get
power
through
through.
this. I am
Yeah.
working it. But
Yeah.
literally, you're not supposed to look at people in the eye but you could feel people's energy. And there was a girl next to me and I could feel her energy like day 3. And that's before you even get into the Vipassana training. And we're just getting used to sitting. And I mean, she was just moving constantly. You could just tell she was in so much pain. And I had
Mm.
taken a few things with me that I thought that I might need. And I ended up leaving it like on her cushion for her. Like it was like some CBD, like rubs, like some gels and some magnesium spray and things like that, just hoping it would help her. And so we
Oh.
get to the end of it, like when you can talk, I think like it was day 10 and they break the vow of silence. She goes, she looks at me, she goes, I thought I was just signing up for just a meditation retreat that had some yoga in it. And
Oh my goodness.
I was like, did you not read on this? And so she said she was going to give up, but I kept, and she said she could feel me because I was like, you got this. You got this. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh,
awesome.
but yeah, I mean,
Wow.
it was funny because she really thought she did not know the physical aspect of it going into it.
Mhm.
No idea.
Yeah. I did a second Vipassana training, which was 7 days in Koh Samui, but it was not the Goenka style that we both did. The one I did, it was like a Thai Buddhist one, and they do incorporate walking meditation in that one. And we had an hour of yoga every day, and it's much more gentle on the body. I do think that there's something in my stubborn head that needed the Goenka one just to be like broken down.
Same, same.
Yeah.
I felt like I was nothing. I was like so broken down. That's what I try to tell people. I'm like, you are nothing. Like your whole ego, nothing. You're nothing.
Yeah.
I agree. And my husband kept saying, "Why are you doing this? Why are you signing up?" And I'm like, I just needed to. Like, I just felt like I needed to, you know?
Yeah. I remember the first time I heard of Vipassana, it was in 2016, so it's a year before I did it. Heard of it from my friend Crystal, whose brother had done it, and I'm like, "What in the world? what, like you're silent for 10 days and you're meditating for 10 hours. That's just crazy. Why would you do that? And then I ended up doing it a year
I
later.
know. I know.
But I
I
felt the same. I'm like, I think I just need that.
I
And
needed
the
it.
idea of silence just sounded very appealing.
Yeah, and people ask me would I do it again, but I would do one like at Spirit Rock. Do you know Spirit Rock? Have you heard of Spirit Rock? It's up in like
Mm,
Massachusetts area, northern, I think north
mm,
of Boston. But they do very much like what you were talking about. Like they'll do 7 days. And Amanda, this might be something good for you. They'll do like 7 days, still the silence, but they have walking meditation. It's pretty much like 30 minutes walking, 30 minutes sitting, 30 minutes walking, 30 minutes sitting throughout the day. And then you got an
mm,
hour of yoga, stretching, and vegan meals, you know? So
mm.
it's a little bit more relaxed and it's not as, I guess, you know, hard on the body maybe, but I'm sure it's still, I'm sure you still get, I mean, you got a lot out of the 7 day, right? I remember
I
reading about
did.
it in your book.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I don't know if I could do that though,
Yeah.
because I feel like if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I'm kind of like you. I'm going
Yeah.
all in if I'm going to
That
do
was
it,
me.
which I found it very interesting that you kind of you did different ceremonies. I know you did a cocoa, is that, am I saying that right? Ceremony, and
Cacao.
then
Yeah.
cacao.
Yeah.
Um, and then you went to that month-long retreat where it felt like heaven, where they were just taking care of you, every aspect of you. It sounded amazing. I would love to do that. What was your favorite healing modality, if that's what you call all of these different? I feel like they're spiritual
Ooh.
dives. But out of everything that you've done, what was your favorite?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
See, I didn't send my
Um,
questions in
That
advance because
wasn't
I
on,
don't
yeah,
have them.
no, that's like,
that wasn't on the
yeah.
list.
I'm like, hold on, let me
Hey, she is
think.
a
Yeah.
lawyer, by the way. She's full of questions. So
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Ooh, I might have to think about that and get back to you. Um,
Maybe I can help you. Was there any experience that you look back on and it may have been somewhat of a paradigm shift for you? You know, like, oh, this was life changing. Like, what was your first? I know you probably had more than one, but
yeah,
what was the most impactful that you can remember?
there were several. The one that's coming to me first in terms of you asking my favorite was um I when I was in Bali in Ubud, I visited a healer and why am I blanking on her name right now? It's in the book, Tunjung. And so this is where like you lay down on a table and then she's kind of like reading your energy and like doing whatever, I don't know, because my eyes were closed for 30 minutes and then she tells you what she got from that. And so I did that and then right after that I went to Yoga Barn for this shamanic drumming breathwork thing. And that combination left me feeling amazing for like a month. That really felt like I was just, yeah, kind of reset. I've also had a similar experience visiting a healer in Guatemala, like that, where, yeah, it just completely changes your state and the way you feel. Those are my favorites, but I really love all of them. I think they have their place. Like I've had some cacao ceremonies that have also just had that effect. Um, and there's an amazing healer in Bali as well, who she's in the epilogue. And Amanda, I know you haven't read the epilogue yet,
Not yet.
so you'll find this one. But I mentioned a reading that she did for me, and I kind of don't know what to call her. I mean, she calls herself a healer, so I guess she is a healer, but I haven't seen her for healing. I've just gone to her for palm reading, which is the first person I've ever seen for palm reading, so I don't even know what they're like. But she's just a person who truly has a gift, and she's able to just by telling you things, it's healing because it's kind of affirming what you already know, but I think in a way it's just getting rid of fear that you're
Hmm.
like, okay, um, like to give you one example, so the yoga retreat that you were talking about, um, I've been wanting to plan yoga retreats pretty much ever since I started traveling and teaching yoga because I get so much joy from traveling to these gorgeous places. And I also had such a life-changing experience at my first yoga retreat. And that's something I want to share with other people. But I had never done it. So for about 5 years, I've been traveling and I was kind of keeping my eye open to find the perfect venue, but nothing ever really felt just right or met my standards. But deep down also was a lot of fear. I just had this fear that I would plan a retreat and nobody would come and I would have to cancel. And when I went to see this palm reader who knew nothing about me, she's she told me, among other things, well, for your job, you would be very successful, like bringing groups of people to places like, for example, to Bali, and then you teach them spiritual things. And it was cute because her English is not perfect, so she has to kind of explain things in a more simple way. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds very much like a yoga retreat. I'm like, well, maybe I should just put it out there. Like, what am I waiting for? And so I did, and the first one filled up in 3 days, and I had to plan a second one. So yeah,
I love
that
it.
was kind of healing and life changing, you know.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. So
yeah.
I have to ask you, and I'm probably gonna butcher this just because I haven't been there and I have to go there to like pronounce it correct. Myanmar, is that how you say it?
Myanmar,
Myanmar. Okay, so
Myanmar, yeah.
Amanda, Myanmar is where Abdul is. That's where he is a refugee from. Okay, so I
Okay, I thought you were about to give me a geography
I'm
lesson,
not,
so
no,
I'm
she's
glad that
not
you're
good
not
at
doing that.
geometry,
Okay.
just so you know this. Okay, so I got connected a year or so ago from a photographer out of New Zealand that was taking pictures down at the refugee camps in Bangladesh, which Bangladesh is like the poorest country. Okay. So I there is the Myanmar, it's the Rohingya refugee camp that's in Cox's Bazar, Bangladesh. And I've become really good friends with when he works for my foundation now, and we do work all over the camp. And I have learned so much about and I thought it was so gosh, I'm trying to think of the word. It was a fresh of breath air reading your version of the country versus what I know now and what they've gone through. Because I know that there's been a big transition since you were there and you lived there. And I loved the stories of you living there and at the restaurant and teaching yoga. And I loved all of that. The country sounds just remarkable. And so I really hate what they've gone through and how the refugees and his family fled during like the genocide. He's 36 now, and I think they fled when he was like 2 years old. So he's never been a citizen of any country, and he lives in this camp. And so I'm trying to get him and his family, there's like 17 of them, into the US. And Amanda and I have chatted
Mm.
briefly about it, trying to get him over here. But we do clean water wells, and I do clothing projects, and I do all these kinds of things in the camp. And their living is just it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. And I know their country is so beautiful. So it breaks my heart, but it was really a breath of fresh air listening to your version of their country.
Yeah, the story of Myanmar and recent events is heartbreaking. And I'm very grateful that I was able to live there before the coup happened. With the Rohingya, so I've never been up to the north of the country because that was going on when I was there. It was in the news and people were saying there's a genocide going on up there. We only knew what we saw in the news, so we don't know, but I can just speak for the rest of the country that it's full of a lot of wonderful people. But then probably it's either a year and a half or 2 years after I left Myanmar, there was a coup and the military took over the country, and it's been horrific. People have been resisting and they're just shooting them in the streets, and there's it's crazy what they're going through right now. And I have friends over there,
That's what
and
I was
their
gonna
lives have
say. Do
just
you stay in touch with
completely.
them? The people?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, my dear friend Injin, who's in the book, she came to the first Bali retreat, and that was amazing because that's the first time I've seen her since I left. And yeah, it's horrible what they're having to go through, but at the same time, they're just making the best of life. Like she herself just opened a spa that's this massive, gorgeous 4-story spa in Yangon, even after the coup and with everything going on. And yeah, so people are amazing regardless. But I really,
I hope that it settles and we can visit because it's such a country. Yeah, I mean, even Abdul, he talks about it, and I mean, from what he remembers, it's beautiful, but
so beautiful.
they just break my heart because it's like over a million people in the camp, and Bangladesh is already so overran
Mhm.
anyway. And so, he sends me pictures of them like on these boats trying to get to Indonesia, and yeah, it's just sad. It's really, really sad. But I'm just blessed that I found him and that we're able to do, at least put some smiles on their faces and, you know
That's amazing what you're
do
doing.
some things. Yeah, I really, really
Yeah.
appreciate that. So, okay, I know we're running out of time, and I don't want to, I'm so respectful of your time, and I'm so thankful you're here. Tell our viewers, how they can get in touch with you and tell us about the retreat that you're putting on.
So they can find me through my website, sonyamoore.com, Sonya with a Y, Moore. I assume it'll be in your show notes as
Yes,
well.
please.
And on Instagram, I'm at Sonya Moore _ here, HERE. The retreat that you're mentioning will be next year in Bali. It's May 6th to 13th. So it's 8 days, 7 nights. And it's half in Ahmed, which is on the northeast coast of Bali. The hotel is right on the beach, and you can just walk into the ocean and snorkel. There's amazing snorkeling right there. It's very vibrant, and the venue is this beautiful boutique hotel with flowers all around. I'm so excited to be back there. The
Amanda's up there.
sweetest
I
spot
see it,
ever.
Amanda.
No, I know.
So
It's
I will
calling
just
me.
I will just tell you. So there's another mom who's coming, and she told me, she's like, "Well, I'm gonna celebrate with my kids before and after."
Right? Like, what
I
better
think it's a
Mother's
great
Day
plan.
present? Greg,
Yeah.
if you're listening right now, Amanda needs to go to this. Greg.
Yeah, well,
And
he's actually out on the scooter with her right now, but I'm going to send him the link so that he can watch immediately and get the message.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi,
And then,
Greg. She'll be
and
really happy when she
oh,
comes back.
she would be the best
Right.
wife ever.
Right.
And then and so just to finish, so then the second half is in Cedaman, Bali, which is this magical place that I only recently discovered. It's not very well known, and it's just lush and surrounded by rice terraces. And I was lucky enough to find the most magical hotel with these very spiritual people who will introduce you to the traditions of Bali. And it's very
Oh,
much the real Bali. It's,
mhm.
yeah.
I
So,
love that.
retreat. And there are still 3 spots left as of right now.
3 spots, Greg. Three
Yeah.
spots. Maybe Greg could call
Okay.
Jason and they could send us. What do you think?
I mean, I think they should talk for sure.
I think they should talk. I think we need to go on this. So your journey, reading your book and everything, like I'm like my friend Jamie that told me, hey Jamie is here in Orange Beach, and she's this my yogi friend from way back, and she's the one that told me I had to read the book. But she told me, she was like, I just want to go to every place that Sonya mentions, and it's
Mhm.
true, like I want to go back
Sure.
into the whole steps. But I literally, like, I I want to dive right into it, and I want to do all the retreats, and I want to have all the healing experiences, and I just think it would be awesome. And if you
Yeah.
like, I think the book is great for anyone that's traveled, anyone that's not traveled, anyone that's starting a spiritual journey, anyone that is like in it, anyone that's hitting burnout, because that's where I was burnout. And it was just a breath of fresh air to read your book.
Oh,
Well, and
I'm
I'll
so
say this
glad.
too. It was a breath of fresh air to listen to it. So if you're not a huge reader and you're multitasking, your voice is so wonderful. And the way that you do these accents and, you get into these characters, it really has been a great, entertaining, and lovely book to listen to as well. So go to Audible, get it.
Oh, I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah,
It's a great stocking
it was a
stuffer.
big
So
project.
I end up having, it wasn't a,
Oh.
so I made a promise to myself, which I've broken it so many times this year, was not going to buy another book because I have so many on my to be read shelf. I'm sure everybody has that, right? So I have so many. Well, shut up. So literally, I go to the library and I'm like, "Do you have this book?" And he was like, "No, but we have Kindles." And I'm like, "Well, I have a Kindle." And he goes, "No, we have a Kindle and we will buy the book and put it on the Kindle for you." And I was like, "What? Are you kidding me?" So that is how I read your book. The library gifted me your book on a Kindle that I rented from the library, and that's the way that I read it. So I actually now
That is
I
so
almost want to
awesome.
buy the Audible version just to hear your voice on it.
It's good.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I also never I should have promoted the audiobook more. I it was such a massive project and I finished it just before the retreat. And so I was just like one post like audiobooks there. Okay, bye. But that's so cool that the library did that for you. And I love libraries personally. So one of my goals for 2025 is to get the book into libraries, like in the paper
Yes.
version. So
Hey, if I can ever help you
that's
in any way, like around this area, let me know. I'm happy to do that for you. Yeah.
yes, if anyone has connections with their local library and they want to request the book, yeah, that would be helpful. And that apparently, the more reviews you have, the more likely they are to carry it. So that's part of the reason I'm trying to get more reviews as well. Get
Yes.
it into
Yes.
libraries.
The reviews. Um, Sonya, I know I didn't put this in the thing, but leave us with your favorite quote.
My favorite quote from
Any,
anywhere in the world.
anywhere. Just inspire us.
Ooh, okay, so this was a really fun part of writing the book because I am so inspired by quotes. And so I started every chapter with a quote, but to have one favorite. Okay, I have the book here, so I'm gonna open it at random. Okay. No rain, no flowers.
And rain
Anonymous.
flowers.
There you go.
There was another one that you said related to that. Uh, don't be afraid of the rain because you got to get through the rain for the rainbow. Something like that. I loved that one.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a good one.
Something like
I'm not sure
that.
what that was yours or somebody else's, but I think it was yours.
Is that the part where I was teaching yoga on my, I think, 2-year anniversary in Asia, and then raindrops
It's
started
towards the
falling and
end.
the rainbow came out, double
I don't
rainbow.
remember.
I don't remember. But you know what? There is another good one that's coming to mind, which is joy is your internal guidance system. And that was Jack Canfield who said that. And that is so brilliant because that does seem to be the way that life works. Like the
Yeah,
things that we're supposed to be doing are actually the things that make us most happy.
that's right.
So
You know,
it's like our
I posted a
GPS.
quote that I saw on, Lewis Holmes actually had posted it, and it was about, we think that we're so stressed because we have so many things to do, but we're not doing enough of the things that make us happy. So that's what stresses us. And I was like,
Mm.
so true, because I can tell when I'm out of and I got so much going on and I don't have time to meditate and I don't have time to do my ice baths. And I feel like stressed and like anxious. And it's because there's not enough time to get all the things that I enjoy doing because everything else is taking up my time. So
Yeah.
it goes in your quote about joy.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Love it. Well, I will make sure
Completely.
that I put all of your information in the show notes. And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to you. And I'll make sure to drop your email address in there as well. And I know I'm going to speak for we thoroughly enjoyed having you on today.
Yes,
I
yes. Hope to see you in
enormously
January.
enjoyed. Yes, I
Hey, let's
hope
make it
so.
happen.
Yeah.
I'll fly down and hang with you guys as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
that will be so fun. I'm so excited about this. I love connecting with amazing people such as
Well,
yourself.
ditto.
Mm.
And if you decide to put on like a little weekend retreat, I'll let all the Orange Beach peeps know. I'll drop it in the Orange Beach Moms Facebook group.
Woo!
Yeah,
Okay, I will definitely keep you posted.
sounds great. It was a pleasure to meet you in person. And thanks for sharing your experience with the world. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. Nice to
Thank you
meet
so much
you.
for having me.
Bye,
Yes,
guys.
so lovely to meet
Take
you.
care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.